Welcome to Pimpy's Investment Chat, where we keep investment talk simple. And here's your host, Pimpy.
What is going on out there, peeps? Let's get back to Iraq. This stalemate seems to have no end in sight. You keep seeing articles where they're saying Saudi's alliance groups want to go ahead and form the government. And then in other articles, they say they're not budging. They keep saying they're going to apply the Constitution. But the Constitution that they have created has caused this deadlock. Sauder is still very influential, and what he wants is a dissolution of the parliament. Now, the funny thing is, I'm looking at this picture of Sauder, and it looks like he's holding a cigar. You can see that the cigar is superimposed onto his hand. Oh, my goodness. Anyways, let's hear what's the latest and the greatest over there in Iraq. Before we get started, though, you know the deal, Oatmeal. Do me a favor and smash that like button. If you're not a subscriber, please do so, because when you do, it helps out the channel, and I certainly do appreciate it. If you're thinking about buying gold and silver, now is the time to buy the shine. You can see that the prices are creeping back up, along with cryptos as well and everything else. So when you go to make your choice and buy gold and silver or any other precious metals, go to our friends over there at Money Metals Exchange. The link is down below in the description. If you are a first-time buyer and you spend more than $100, use promo code Pimpy, P-I-M-P-Y, and you will get a free half ounce of silver. Alrighty, here we go. Parliament decision, a preliminary agreement to hold a session to elect a new president of Iraq after the 40. The repertoire of the Iraq Council of Representatives stated on Saturday that there is a preliminary agreement between the presidency of the House of Representatives and the political blocs to resume holding legislative sessions after the 40th visit of Ayman Hussein. In a statement to the news, Askar said that the parliament will hold its session after the visit to elect the president of the republic and form the new federal government. Again, here you go. You have the media saying, hey, this is going to happen. I haven't seen any indication that's really what's going to happen. He added that there's a lot of holiday laws that need to be read and discussed and will be voted on after the parliament sessions resume. The political scene in Iraq has undergone a dangerous turn since the supporters of the Sauderist movement, led by Sauder, stormed the parliament building in a fortified green zone in central Baghdad and protested against al-Sudani's nomination for the position of prime minister of the next federal government and withdraw from it by order of their leader after an armed clash with the security forces and elements of the armed factions. Said the Sauderist bloc had obtained the highest votes in the early legislative election that took place almost a year ago. Time is flying by. But the efforts of the leader of the current failed to form a new federal government due to the Shiite coordinated framework standing in its way by obtaining a fatwa from the federal court with the so-called blocking third in a contract. The session for electing a president of the republic, which paves the way for naming the prime minister. A three-way alliance between the Kurdistan Democratic Party, led by Barzani, the Sovereignty Alliance, which was led by Khanjour, and of course the Sauderist movement, led by Sauder himself, was broken following the resignation of the Sauderist bloc deputies and the movement's withdrawal from the political process by order of Sauder. Goes on to say that the political scene is living in a crisis situation and a dead end unprecedented in the history of Iraq, as more than 300 days have passed since the early election without being able to form a new government in the country, and the survival of the caretaker government headed by al-Kadhimi. So it was on the 10th of the last October, Iraq held early elections to get out of the political crisis that swept the country after large demonstrations in the central and southern regions in 2019. I remember that. And protests against the widespread unemployment in society, the spread of financial and administrative corruption in government departments and institutions, and the deteriorating reality, the service, and the livelihood, which prompted the former Prime Minister Mahdi to resign under popular pressure. But of course, you know what happened that during elections, Sauter's people, they grabbed the majority, and right away we have political forces and actors rose in rejections of losing many seats, accusing them of major fraud in the ballot, which was denied by the executive and judicial authorities at a time when the United Nations and international organizations praised the integrity of the electoral process. Now, this article right here definitely grabbed my attention. I don't know how to even digest what is being said here. So we're talking about Kushner. This is the Donald Trump's son-in-law. He said a body asked for the U.S. protection in exchange for money. For some reason, that seems strange. If I remembered right, I believe it was a body that's actually part of the Iranian-backed politicians, and to have him ask for protection from the United States is definitely interesting to hear. Now, I might be wrong. I could be mixing up Mighty and a body. Mighty body, we like to party. Sorry, I couldn't resist. Former President Donald Trump advisor Jared Kushner revealed the former Iraqi Prime Minister, a body expressed in a meeting between them during a visit to Iraq his desire for them to hold a bilateral meeting, and told him about the willingness to give some money in exchange for protection that provided by the United States. But he wanted the deal, but he wanted the cheapest deal. Oh my goodness. Kushner recently released some memoirs, Breaking History. Kushner said that when he met Iraqi Prime Minister Abadi, he asked him to speak privately. Kushner revealed in his memoirs, Breaking History, which was released in late August, that they could get 20% of Iraq's oil revenues in exchange for providing military support to Iraq. But the Ministries of Foreign Affairs and Defense prevented that. 1/5 of all oil revenues to the United States, or was he trying to say to Kushner? Jared Kushner talks in his memoirs about the visit to Iraq. So it goes on to talk about how he was there. He was visiting ahead of time, much sooner than he wanted to kind of scope out what was going on over there in Iraq. And the Prime Minister put him to the side and offered him that sweet deal. That's because the body took what President Trump had said about, other nations that the United States provides protections to are going to have to start paying up their fair share. Well, like I said, a body took it to heart, and that's why he was making the offer, 20% of oil revenues. Anyways, he said he couldn't go back to that with Trump because Trump would be upset. Upset that he's being offered that, or upset that that's not enough. Saleh al-Raqi's tweet ends al-Sauter's retirement, and the 2010 scenario is repeated. So in the tweet, I wouldn't say so much that it ended Sauter's retirement. What Sauter had said was he and his bloc would unretire for one purpose and one purpose only, and that would be to dissolve the parliament. That would be the only reason, and then to choose a date for early election. So I wouldn't say so much that he's talking about a retirement, but I get where it is that Sauter's trying to go with this. They definitely don't want the corrupt government back into power. Again, these are almost the same group of people that were there back in 2019 when the protesters were protesting the government at the time. So over 300 days later, and we still have not gotten anything accomplished over there in Iraq. It's upsetting because let me tell you why. Can you imagine how much better Iraq would be right now? Seriously, how much better they would be had things gone smoothly? It's a trip to think about. Anyways, that's it for now. Let me know what you guys think. Is this thing going to get resolved anytime soon? I don't think so. They keep saying use the Constitution, but the Constitution obviously has not provided a way out of this situation, or would have been done already. That's it for now. I will catch you later. I'm out.